In Come Along With Me, Shirley Jackson writes, "Most people have never seen a ghost and never want or expect to, but almost everyone will admit that they sometimes have a sneaking feeling that they just possibly could meet a ghost if they weren't careful. If they were to turn a corner too suddenly, perhaps, or open their eyes too soon when they wake up at night, or go into a dark room without hesitating first. This is Gothic." Hello there, Sojourners. Welcome to Gothic. I'm your host, C. Patrick, and here in Season 1, our players play characters within the tropes of Gothic literature and cinema. They'll brood, they'll run randomly across the moors, and they'll almost certainly bleed as they try and unravel the mysteries not only of the 18th century crumbling ruins they inhabit, but also those of a contemporary now. Join us, won't you? Also, hey, if you like what you hear, please support us on Patreon.
We have our players all gathered tonight. We have myself, I'm Patrick, and go ahead and introduce yourselves. Nathan?
Howdy. My name is Nathan. I am completely new to this system and extremely looking forward to this evening's recording. Excited to be here and hope to watch my character die horribly. Yeah.
Excellent, because that's what I had planned for you.
Perfect.
Sharon, say hi.
Hi! Hello. My name is Sharon. I have played Monster of the Week precisely once. So I'm very skilled and excited.
Yeah.
And Jesse, say hello.
Hello, I'm Jesse, and I have a small bit of experience with Monster of the Week, at least a few episodes, and I'm just looking forward to this new adventure.
All right. And like you may have gathered from that, we are playing a game called Monster of the Week. It is produced by Evil Hat, and it is a collaborative storytelling game. It's very dice light, but there is dice rolling, and essentially the players are also creators of the game. They're going to be answering questions that I give them, and their answers to those questions are going to guide kind of where the story goes, which is really unfortunate because I have this plan for how the story is supposed to go, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to go anywhere near there. Pretty soon we'll be on the moon battling moon Nazis, and I'll be like, What?
Hell yeah,
I call this thing Gothic. How can this be?
Moon Gothic.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's do this.
We have a website.
Lunar Adventure.
How am I supposed to change the name? As far as the rules go, players will be using 2 6-sided dice. They roll those, and they will either get full successes, or they'll get mixed successes, which are a little bit more interesting. And I'm going to take a cue from one of my favorite actual play podcasts, The Crit Show, and be giving them some options to choose from when they have a mixed success.
Oh, I love the options.
How generous.
Yeah, options are good because it makes you have to decide stuff. And then there's also, if you roll a 6 or less with your bonuses, it's a failure, but it's not really a failure. You could still succeed at whatever it is you are doing, but bad things are gonna happen.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We are playing in the realm of Gothic literature. Gothic literature is marked by being extremely atmospheric. There's thunder. There's lightning. Crash. Maybe I'll put in sound effects. I don't
Fancy,
know.
man. Now we're high budget.
And there's shadowy halls and scary sounds and such. And yes, the architecture is also very important. Lots of gables and gargoyles. Also, the characters in Gothic literature and movies tend to brood a lot. Think Twilight.
Really?
I'm not sure that I would call Twilight Gothic.
Whoa.
I know.
I was going to say, I don't know if I'm interested in this project
I had to
anymore.
go there.
I would not consider Twilight at all Gothic.
I'm sorry.
Goddamn. Well thought.
Someone considers Twilight Gothic despite the glitter. Come on.
Man.
Okay, we just lost like half the world as potential listeners.
Yeah, way to
because we're
go.
making fun
Don't
of-
worry. There won't be.
Good work. We've just started and we've already blown our fan base.
You know what? I can promise those people if there are glittery vampires, I will cut their head off.
Woo!
Wow, you've gone dark from the beginning. Good work on the Gothic. Great work. All right, shall we start this game and see what happens, or shall we just chat some more?
I want to finish making my character all the way through. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I've waited weeks for this moment.
Okay, well, let's do it then. Hold on a moment as I prepare myself. A storm rages across the English moors. Rain slants down, blown by a chill wind from the north. Lightning flashes, illuminating the stark landscape of rolling moors and isolated copses of slumped and haggard trees. The road is a morass of mud and slick stones. The town of Bledsun is too far behind. The only light for miles, other than that of the crackling as the sky is sundered, is that coming from a sprawling stone manor that is more castle than house. The manor looms even larger, a dark presence against the dark sky as you approach the light, a single glassed-in lantern hanging beside an overlarge oaken door. The lamp sways in the wind and claps against the stone wall it hangs from. You are not the only petitioner come to this door on this most unruly of nights. 2 others approach the castle. How about you give us your names and describe yourselves? How'd you all arrive here?
I walked. I have all the time in the world. Okay, yes, you want me to go through my name and everything else?
Give us your name and describe yourself, although you won't be saying this out loud to your fellow
Gotcha.
travelers.
Gotcha. All right.
Yet.
My character's name is Chauncey Candlewick. He is a tall, slender man with a kind of archaic clothes, slightly behind the times, top hat, rather nice press suit, the frills, all of that, slightly out of place, I would say, in the mud. But there is an evil aura surrounding him, and everywhere he goes, you can consider him something of an asexual immortal.
Would people that see you know that you're immortal?
He has
or...
That man is immortal.
Well, no, he
Or
probably
have
wouldn't.
that immortal feeling. I mean, do you glitter in the sunlight?
Oh no!
Or...
He just smiles casually, and he has a problem with his eye. One of his eyes is constantly twitching.
Okay. Sharon.
My character's name is Grace Moreau. I imagine she has her own carriage. She is a world-famous opera singer. She is a Valkyrie-proportioned lady of brown skin and big hair with a strong body and, I would say rather grand clothing.
Grand in what way?
Well, as a world-famous opera singer, she does have to have the fanciest dresses from the dressmakers in London, where she is based.
Even on such a night as this?
Oh, of course, she was traveling up north for a little production up in Edinburgh.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So, Jesse.
My character is Laurie, a very androgynous-looking person. Can't quite tell. Could be male, could be female. And with lightly glowing eyes, wearing a perfect suit, has just arrived in this land by means unknown. Recently exiled from a dimension beyond this one.
Well, fuck.
And that's apparent when people see you.
Yeah, the glowing eyes kind of give it away.
There's something wrong with that one there.
Says the guy with an evil aura.
With a rolling twitch.
All right, anyway, so here you are at the door of this massive castle with only this one light as the lantern blows in the winds, cracking against the stone wall.
That's a fire hazard.
Lori, how did you arrive here? I mean, did you just sort of appear, or did you walk, or did you ride a horse?
Yes, I just appeared.
Oh, that's not suspicious at all.
Everyone looks sort of to the right as a figure appears out of the rain, almost appearing as if the rain coalesced into this figure.
Normal English night.
You each hold an invitation in your hand. It bears a crest that was unfamiliar to all of you, but the missive is signed simply Lazarus Caine, Lord Bledsun. What did the letter say that was intriguing enough to draw you out to the castle on a night such as this? Nathan? I'm sorry, Chauncey Candlewick?
The fact that anybody would know to send him a letter, much less know where to find him or address him, is of great interest to Mr. Candlewick. He values his privacy highly. It's almost like pointing a finger at someone trying to hide in the shadows. So he's come to get to the bottom of whoever is trying to pull his strings.
Okay. All right. Grace?
Well, I just simply had to be there, didn't I? All the biggest names in entertainment would be there.
So your invitation lists all the marvelous guests.
Yes, no one as high as a prince or anything like that, but there were some really influential names on this invitation here.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh my, I missed that.
Maybe yours was one of them.
Oh my.
Lori?
My invitation read, "We have encountered your kind before being exiled, and if you need places to hide, we can assist in that endeavor. Sincerely yours, Lazarus."
Okay, nice.
Ooh, they know you. God.
Apparently so.
This is just oh man.
So you see each other. Now, you as players, you know how the game works. You know one another. You're going to have connections to one another somehow, some way. I guess we're going to find out how. But we aren't commenting on them yet. Instead, you all just sort of see one another, nod, and who would like to knock on the door? Or if anybody, you can turn away. This is it's a role-playing game. You can, role-play.
So does this house look occupied?
There's just one light.
You've got a castle in front of you and one light. And there's a door. The windows are high. They are mostly stained glass, and there is light, dim light, glowing from within, light that couldn't be seen from a distance, but now that you are closer to the castle, it is viewable. And you did indeed have to cross an honest-to-God moat
Oh my.
to get to the front door. Now, the bridge that connects the, what would you call it, mainland to the door is not a drawbridge. It's just an actual stone bridge, and in the storm, it's not even all that easy to tell that there is a ditch there, but there is a ditch there, and you could even call it a moat.
All right. Well, I don't see any time dilly-dallying. I'm going to take my cane and wrap the door.
Ooh, cane. What's your cane look like? Does it have like a cool...
Oh, yes, it has a little silver wolf's head on top of it. But most importantly is the danger it hides within it. It is a sword cane. So it is form and function.
You rap against the door. Astonishing rapping.
High dollar cane rapping.
The door opens, and a tall, gaunt man with a thin, gaunt face stands there, holding a candle that seems to defy the wind. He wears the attire of a serving man, though that attire is decades out of fashion. You should appreciate that, Chauncey.
Yes. Yeah.
But you'd put it at least a good 50 years out of date. You try to keep up with that a little bit, I suppose.
Oh, I do. I look down upon these people who are behind on the times.
He looks you all over, and if you want a real image to visualize this with, imagine the tall man from Phantasm.
Nope.
So Angel Boy, you take a step forward.
Yeah, I just
Did you say nope, Sharon?
yeah, it's a bad thing.
It's a bad thing.
I
Okay.
simply cannot abide servants who are dressed out of style.
Come, says the butler, if that's what he is. The master has caused a meal to be prepared for you. The food is hot, and there is mulled wine. Without waiting for a response, the butler turns and strides off into the darkness of a long hall, one whose shadowed recesses conceal suits of armor, busts of ancient lords, and paintings that cannot be easily discerned in the dim lighting. What do you do? Anyone?
I would allow my coachman to assist me down from my coach and follow him inside.
You see the other two approach, and one knocks on the door, the definitely not glittering one. And the door opens, and so you see that, and so you are helped down by your coachman. Yes, the rain is still coming down, driving down. There's wind. You're going to get a little damp, but he covers you in an umbrella for a space of time. But your coachman is very reluctant. He's professional. He does his job, but he doesn't like going that close to this building.
Shall I escort you inside, miss?
Oh, I'd be delighted, Mr.
Laurie.
Oh, Mr. Laurie. Thank you so much. So very much.
Chauncey, shall you lead the way?
Yep, I'm going to take my cane and I'm going to push it against the door and shove it the rest of the way open. And stride. Yes.
Says the door.
Yes, exactly.
That door
And I'm just going to stride in there, click, tap, click, tap.
He's got a little head start on you, but he's not moving real fast. And so you're able to quickly catch up. And in fact, as you move down the hallway, the suits of armor seem larger than life. Like if who's the largest among you? Would it be Chauncey?
I'm tall and slender, not exactly large, though.
So really, you and Laurie are kind of similar in stature, right?
I'm a little gangly.
Are we speaking height here or volume?
So Grace may be the presence of the three of you. If you were to try to put it on Grace, it would be probably a size and a half.
Visually unappealing.
I mean, it just has that feeling of bigness, of looming over you, and the eye areas of the helmets seem darker than they should, even in this shadowed space, which is lit only by what light comes in from the open door where rain spatters against the stoop, and from the candle that the servant is holding and leading ahead with.
Well, I can appreciate bigness, and this just goes to show what a detriment improper lighting can have on a setting.
Is there no one else here? It's just us and this gangly person?
Chauncey says into the darkness. The butler stops, and then slowly he turns around and looks at you, and his face is illuminated from below from his candle, and he says, "The others await in the dining room." And then he turns back and starts walking.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to take off my coat and just throw it onto the nearest armor set, since he is such a poor butler and has not taken well care of us. I'm going to see to it that his master knows of these things.
I say that's...
Well, without your coat, it is chilly here in the castle, but okay. Your immortality does not give you immunity to the cold.
No.
Oh, man, that sucks.
But I figure my clothes are rain-soaked, so I'm going to get rid of that coat.
All right, so you just hang it over like a spear or something that's with one of the suits of armor. Okay. Anybody else want to do any hall work as we go along here?
Yeah, I'd love to investigate a mystery, actually.
Oh, all right. Nice. So our first roll of the game. Wait.
Yay!
And it is a 9. Wait. Yep, just a 9.
A 9. Well, 7 to 9 is for this kind of roll, it's not a mixed success. You just have a limited number of questions that you can ask me, the keeper. So what would you like to ask?
Since it's just a one, let's go with what is being concealed here?
In what regard?
It just seems like there's a dark aura about the place, and I'm wanting to put out feelers onto what could be hiding.
Sure.
What's happening here is shitty service.
That's exactly what you discover. It's really awful service here at the castle. No. You, Lori, you glance back toward the open door, which for some reason I get the feeling annoys you because of possibly some OCD nature invested in you from your past.
Oh, you know me so well.
In that it's still open. And in a lightning flash, you see what you could swear is one of the suits of armor turns its helmet toward you to look at you.
Yeah, fun.
Yes. See? Shitty service.
All right, you continue on. And the butler leads you into a largest room that is at least better lit than the hallway that you have come through. However, lighting in the dim room you are escorted to comes from a large chandelier made from the horns of innumerable deer, elk, and the like. A long polished oak table with service for 9 dominates the dining hall itself, 4 to each side and 1 at the head. Heavy chairs of ancient padded wood are placed at each setting, but the one at the head of the table is far more ornate than the others, carved with images of demon heads and wolves and topped with a pair of soaring bat wings. That chair is empty, as are 4 of the smaller chairs, but the other 4 are occupied by 2 men and 2 women. A third man stands at a nearby wet bar, pouring himself a brandy. He raises it in salute as you enter. "Servants here are shite," he says, taking a sip from the crystal.
Damn
Well,
right.
I wasn't going to say anything, dear, but that butler sure left us behind.
Okay, so each of you knows at least one of these people. I want to know how you know them. There are 4 occupied chairs, 2 men and 2 women, and then there's the guy that's standing over by the bar. Let's mix things up a little bit. Jesse, how about you go first? Lori, how do you know one of these people?
The gentleman serving himself at the bar is a fellow that I had saved from a mugging, helped him recover from his stab wounds.
Do you know his name?
His name is... Yes, I do. His name is Nathan Redbone.
Nathan Redbone. All right. Nice. Grace, who do you know here?
One of the women sitting down is a fellow student of our mutual musical mentor, and her name is Priscilla. And I greet her by, "Oh, Priscilla, darling," and we do the kiss on both cheeks. And if you knew nothing about society, you might say that we were friends, but if you did know anything about society, you'd say we were actually bitter rivals.
Nice. Okay. So which one of these do you know, Chauncey?
All right. Mr. Candlewick observes one of the younger women. He had recently seen her. What did you say the last town was? Bledsun?
Bledsun. Bledsun. The name of my own town that I made up. Bledsun.
Right.
is the name of the nearby town, yes.
Some days ago, when he first was passing through Bledsun, he had happened upon a curio shop at a less than reputable part of town. In this shop, this young woman was going about looking at objects that she had no business messing with. Also, her age is such that she would probably barely be considered to be invited to anything, something like this.
Okay.
All of this together stuck out like a sore thumb to Mr. Candlewick, who took it a moment to observe her as she meandered through and obviously talked with the owner of the shop, knowing a bit more than than anyone her age should know, and he just kind of kept his distance. Didn't get her name, just recognized her from the curio shop in town.
Okay, how old is she?
I would say I'd say maybe 16 at best.
Okay.
16, 17, but far too young to be looking into such things.
Okay. Nice. All right. And you don't know her name, you say?
Oh no, I don't make it a point to get the little people's names. Yes. You said there's brandy here. We need to go get brandy.
Would you like to sit down then?
Yes. I'll take a seat.
All right.
There's no servants or anything of the sort here?
Not yet, anyway. Nathan Redbone, in fact, he comes over and kind of lifts his glass in your direction, Lori.
Yes.
Then sits down and just sort of looks around at everybody with just sort of a small smile on his face as the rest of you sit. And as soon as everyone has sat down, a number of servants do appear. They're very waif-like, just sort of very, not gaunt, but they don't have much of a presence, and they keep their heads down, and they bring out drinks and appetizers, at which point Nathan just throws his hands up and goes, "Oh, it would have been nice if they'd come before I had to go make my own drink." After the drinks and appetizers, again, all served by these waif-like servants who speak little and keep their heads and eyes lowered all the while, there comes the sound of a single chime from a bell. Ding! I might use real special effects.
Fair
We'll
enough.
see.
I like that ding. That ding is of importance.
I was going to say,
Ding!
don't diss on your voice, man.
No, it's just one. A door in one shadowed wall of the room opens, and your host strides through. Lazarus Caine, Lord Bledsun, is not overly tall, but he is broad of shoulder and slender of hip, giving him the appearance of height and power. He also wears thick furs clasped with gold and black gloves that seem to suck in the light. "Welcome to my table," he says amiably, with a bit of quirk to his thin lips. "I'm glad you chose to come on such a night as this, and I hope you enjoy the fare." With that, he sits at the head of the table in a flourish of wolfskin capes, and servants begin bringing out the main dishes, plates of meats, steaming vegetables, fruits that are all out of season, but seem fresh and gleaming, and, of course, more drinks for all.
When he enters, I rise to my feet, and then when he sits down, I also sit down following him.
Okay. There are a couple of the others that do something similar.
I think that sounds appropriate.
He doesn't say anything really during the meal. He just sort of eats, and he has some food in front of him, and he eats small portions, but he does seem to taste of all of the dishes. You aren't quite sure if that's because he's, wants to enjoy all of the food, or if he's perhaps proving to you that it's not poisoned. Because there are connections that you all have with Lazarus Caine. But we're going to get to those in a little bit. Before that, I want the dinner conversation to bring out some of the connections you have between one another. One of the most fun and interesting parts of Monster of the Week is in character building. The hunters, the characters, know one another and have some history with one another. So everybody's going to go around, and you have one connection, I believe, with everyone else. Shall we start with Chauncey Candlewick?
Okay. All right. We're gonna go to my angelic friend,
Lori.
Lori, there has been a time in the past that you and I have fought together against the odds and prevailed. So, in your dealings and whatever would bring you here and there, there's been monsters or situations that I guess for whatever your own noble reason you decided to come down and war against, that just so happened to be enemies of convenience along with me. So we have dealings in the past of occasionally crossing paths, but nothing super serious.
Does it?
Just more of a...
Does the... sorry, I don't have it here in front of me. Does it say something like, you fought together against the odds and prevailed, and ask you to ask him what the circumstances were, or does it just kind of leave it open?
Actually, this one leaves it open. It's one of the ones that doesn't ask.
Okay, interesting.
And so I'm gonna go with that one. I'm gonna go with that one for Lori, and it's Gracie? Grace. So with Grace, though, whether she knows it or not, I identify her as a distant descendant, which I'm going to say maybe 5, 6, 7 generations down.
How old are you, Chauncey?
I'm so old I have forgotten.
I don't like to talk about it.
But you might not know me, but looking at you, I instantly know you.
All right.
Interesting. Okay. So, Grace, how about you? What are your connections here?
Well, I have one that says close relative or partner spouse, and that seems to fall in line with what Chauncey just said, although I don't know if close relative is quite the right word.
Yeah, you don't have to go with that if you don't want to. I mean, that can just be a thing from his end.
Oh, yeah, it could just be from my end.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say maybe for Chauncey, I have one they are a lay member of your sect, and that might be interesting.
Ooh. I like that.
Not an active member, but like a kind of auxiliary.
Yeah. No, I like that.
All right.
Well, yeah, I mean, Chauncey's probably like members of a lot of different groups.
Yeah.
I'm a Shriner, too. And how about Lori?
Oh.
Yes. No, I mean,
yes.
how is Grace connected to Lori?
Well, Lori seems to have just appeared. Am I right about that? Or does Lori have like a history on like this dimension?
I guess you get to kind of guide that in some ways by what you choose.
Okay. I kind of like they're described in the prophecies, but the role they will play isn't stated.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's legit. That's legit.
One shall arrive from within the rain, and that one shall be, kind of important in some way.
Bright eyes.
Good old prophecies. Excellent. Let's move on over to Lori.
Okay. This is hilarious because for Grace, they should not be involved in this situation. The prophecies didn't mention them at all. This gets my attention, but I don't know what it means yet.
I love it. I love that.
Okay, nice.
And then for Chauncey is an abomination and should be destroyed.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Except I can't. Why can't I destroy you, Chauncey?
Why can't you destroy me? Because I never give you the opportunity. I like to keep it at a professional distance, a casual nod, a slight passing. Okay. Oh, you're going this way too? How are you? Oh, by the way, you've got that to deal with over there. Have fun.
So how did you, I'm going to ask Lori actually, because it's on you at the moment. So does Chauncey know that you think that they are an abomination and should be destroyed?
Yes and no. I have mentioned in passing that they are kind of an unclean personage. So yes, they know of my disdain.
Perfect.
Okay. Also, Lori, although Chauncey says that they have kind of, stayed out of reach, that seems a little bit difficult against one of your nature. Is there anything else that's been thwarting you in your desire to eliminate this abomination from the face of the world?
The fact that we had fought together and prevailed in the past.
Okay.
And maybe I do have a little bit of feeling that there is something good in there, and maybe they aren't the abomination they seem to be.
And I believe he's full of awkward notions and fantasies. So.
Now, if I gather this correctly, though, Chauncey, you were once, well, and really still are. I mean, you were human, right?
Oh yes,
Okay.
he's a human who sold his soul.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Well, I think that covers your connections. Yeah. Did I miss any?
With Grace, I would like to tease little bits of information about her, basically her heritage.
Oh.
Like
Okay.
how I would know a little bit more that I'm letting on, but I wouldn't straight out tell you that you're a
totally.
descendant.
No, I could totally
Yeah,
picture you just being like,
So during the meal, you're going to try to tease some of your knowledge, but maybe also find out more about her. Are you interested in your descendants, Chauncey?
I'm very I'm pretty jaded at this point, and I don't really care much for most things mortal.
Okay.
oh, thanks.
Sorry.
I love you too, great granddad.
Try not to die.
Maybe you're the only way that the line can continue.
Ooh.
Mhm.
It's like a passing hobby. You know how people have pets, and they have this is the son of this pet, and this is the descendant of this pet, and they keep that family line going. I've kind of done the same thing with the rest
Grace
of
is
the
your
I was gonna say it's like opposite genealogy.
Yeah.
That instead of genealogy, you're like tracing your descendants.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, he made it all the way over there, did he? Well, good luck to him.
Look at that. There he goes.
All right. So, anybody want to talk to any of the other guests, or say anything in particular to them, or try to get information out of them during the meal? Or, I mean, for that matter, to Lord Bledsun himself, Lazarus Caine.
Yes, I wanted to address Lazarus.
All right. He looks up at you and goes, I am glad you could make it this evening. I had hoped you would answer my summons.
Sir, it seems like many of us are here for different reasons. What is the purpose of this dinner?
Lazarus Caine stands. He taps the side of his glass with a spoon. He speaks, but he sounds different than he did before. Well then, good. This excellent person, Laurie, has asked why you are all here this evening. It is not, I fear, merely to enjoy my most excellent feast. Indeed, no.
Indeed.
Indeed. You each came in response to a letter I sent you. In this, I must admit to a bit of subterfuge. You are really here this night to, well, say goodbye. For I am leaving this place and this country, likely never to return. Oh, I know. However, will Bledsun survive without me? He looks up at a high window where lightning flashes on cue.
Dramatic.
So many terrors pressing against us. Well, that's why you are here. As I have no children, you are my inheritors. Congratulations. Or rather, one of you will be. You must show your metal life here. My house, Castle Caine, is not a safe place. But if you can spend the night here and survive, then you are worthy to take my place as the protector of Bledsun.
Right.
I beg your pardon, you say your house is not safe? You should get someone in to look at that.
I'm gonna give a little side eye at Lori, and I'm just gonna murmur. I was like, not even this room is safe.
Not safe at all. Also, you're a little confused as to why Caine might choose you all to be among his successors. Because
None of us are related.
you all have, you know that you have offended Lord Bledsun in some way. I want to know how you have done so. Grace, what do you think?
Oh, well, he was one of those many gentlemen who sent flowers to my dressing room after my performance in Handel's Messiah. And, in the shuffle of all the bouquets, I just, I never got around to sending him a thank you note. And, I feel bad about it, but it's way too late now.
That seems like a terrible, terrible offense.
It's a horrible slide, I know.
All right. How about Lori?
Unfortunately, Lazarus was keeping, let's just say, an unnatural creature as a pet, and I had to banish this abomination from this plane of existence.
Do you know what that creature was?
It was some version of a hellhound.
Okay. Multi-headed or just one head?
Just one.
And finally, Chauncey?
All right. Mine is a little personal. He had a descendant, a sole heir, who I allowed to be viciously murdered and eaten by a pack of werewolves when I could have stepped in and saved him from the situation that he found himself in. I knew about it. I could have stopped it. And this man was well aware that I could have stopped it because of his connections. But I let it happen anyway, because I couldn't be bothered to be dealing with some mangy mongrels.
Oh, dear.
At the time, now it seems like your motivations have changed somewhat. You now do away with creatures of darkness.
Yeah, there has been a slight change of heart, or maybe it's a desire to, immortality is getting very boring.
Okay.
So, but yes.
All right. Anybody want to ask Caine any questions or make any statements or anything? What you want to do?
I'm here to play the game. Whatever game he has planned.
What foulness are you leaving us with, Master Caine?
You'll find out soon enough, he says. And with that, he claps his hands, and darkness fills the room.
I scream very loudly.
Ah! Exciting.
I love it.
The Gothic Podcast is produced by C. Patrick Nagel, with theme music by Zoe Hovland and cover artwork by Jared George Art. Listen to The Gothic Podcast on Podbean or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow The Gothic Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, or email us at thegothicpodcast@gmail.com. Support for The Gothic Podcast comes from you, our listeners, so please visit our Patreon page. Thanks.